And let's talk about the Eagles for a second. I mean, Dan, they looked like they might be cruising to another conference title at this time a year ago. Then they lose 5 of their last 6 regular season games. They lose in the playoffs. At times it looks like now the wheels are coming off. Sirianni's got this brouhaha. What does all of it say about where they are right now as a franchise, Dan?
I just don't think he comports himself like a head coach. And maybe I'm old school, get off my lawn, but that coach on the sidelines, he's the leader. He's not engaging with fans. There's a disconnect with him and his quarterback. They have the talent, but that usually comes back to let's start with the coach. Or, the front office has done a great job in bringing in all this talent. And I love Saquon Barkley there. They got weapons. I'm not all in on Jalen Hurts. The defense has been suspect. I didn't know they were going to miss Jason Kelsey as much as they did, maybe more for leadership than anything. But this just doesn't end well. I thought he was, in jeopardy in the offseason, but bringing him back, and it doesn't feel like he's learned. You're bringing your kids into a press conference there. I don't know. They're just, it doesn't look right. It doesn't sound right. And it usually doesn't end right.
Tracy, what does it look like to you right now?
Dan, everything you're saying I love, because I'm going to feed off that and talk about the culture. And I know from standing on a sideline, you can tell when a team has it by the culture, by the leadership. It stems at the top. I do love what Harry Roseman has done, who they brought in. This offense is really good. And the fact that they're struggling is suspect to me. And it's because of that leadership that you mentioned. When you don't have leadership from top to bottom, there's a problem. So something is happening behind closed doors, and they need to fix that quickly.
In Philadelphia, when you argue with the fans, you don't win. I mean, that's the beginning of the end. There's no winning there. And we've all seen instances, whether it's, the fans belting Santa Claus, when you're a guy like Sirianni, I think we could all appreciate the pressure he feels he may be under. But like you said, Dan, that's a no-win situation, and it doesn't end well. And this probably is another segment, the idea of athletes bringing kids to press conferences, man. I mean, I don't know if there should be a rule, or maybe in the next CBA or something, but just spare us. Leave the kids at home. Come in and take the slings and arrows, but don't bring the kids to the press conference.
But Bill, knowing those Philadelphia fans or Philadelphia reporters, they're still going to ask the same question whether there's a 7-year-old there. It doesn't matter. Just saying, having been there for the Flyers and the Sixers, the Eagles, the Phillies, those reporters, it doesn't matter. You can bring your grandma in there. Doesn't matter. They're asking you a tough question. I waited for Sirianni to say to his kid, earmuffs, just so he wouldn't hear what they were going to ask Dad.
Right, yeah.
Earmuffs. Yeah. I was waiting for the Sirianni children. To go back at the reporters the way their dad would. I think that they're poorly coached, those kids. They should have gone back at those reporters the way that the father went after the fans. And I think, again, you forget the fans are the customers. They're your customers. So can you imagine the customers being at a restaurant that you manage, that you coach at, and they don't like the food, and all of a sudden you're saying, you don't like the food, get out of the restaurant, leave here. Too bad. That's not the way you would treat your customers. And that's essentially what he was doing to some of those fans.